Hello everyone from Okinawa City. I'm about to check out of my hotel here, and I found a music store yesterday. So I found picks finally. I lost all my picks, so I was always playing with my fingers, but I finally found some picks. Okay, today is yet another deep dive into another standard. So I think this is the fourth one. So this started 4 weeks ago. If you're new to my channel, check out the video from 4 weeks ago where I was doing an analysis of a tune called Lady Be Good. So it's a continuation of that. But in this case, I want to approach it from a different angle. So the song is All the Things You Are. If you're familiar with jazz, this is one of the main standards. If you play mainstream jazz, like straight ahead jazz, where you go to jam sessions and you don't know this song, you are not a jazz musician. It's like that common. It's one of the must-knows of the style. It's kind of like being a blues player and not knowing what a 12-bar blues is. Okay? All the things you are. The chords themselves are quite simple, and there are different ways to harmonize it. I used a backing track from Guitar Improvisation, a friend of mine, Martin Joanny from France. Wonderful channel, wonderful guy. Personally, those are not the changes that it's a very small detail, but some of the changes that he used are not the ones that I would personally use. But you make do with it, and it's small differences. For some people, it's not a big deal. For me, it wasn't that big of a deal. But sometimes when I was playing certain notes, I heard a little bit of the clash. But for the most part, most people, besides these little small differences, most people more or less agree on the changes. So let's just talk about it real quick. Right, F minor, usually played in the key of A flat. So F minor, B flat minor, E flat 7, A flat, D flat. And this is where some people will have little disagreements or variations, so to speak. After D flat, I like to go to G7 directly. I like this. But some people will go to D minor first, or some people will go to D minor 7 flat 5. I don't remember what Martin did in his C, then C major. Then the exact same thing, but in the key of E flat major, so it starts on C minor. The exact same progression. And then here, A flat, the same thing can happen. Either it goes to, what I like, goes directly to D7, or some people do A minor 7 flat 5, some people do A minor, some people, yeah, that's it. Then G. Then 2 5 1 to G again. And then here, again, some little disagreements. Some people do F sharp minor 7 to B7 to E. And some people do F sharp minor 7 flat 5, B7 to E. Then C7, and then the final part, F minor, B flat minor, E flat 7, A flat, D flat major, D flat major, minor, C minor or A flat over C, B diminished, 2 5 1 to A flat, and then some kind of C turnaround to get back to F minor, like C7 to F minor. That's those are the changes to the song. Now I have a course on DC Music School about the nature of harmony. I highly recommend it. I really want to plug it. I think it's a good course. It's explaining from a historical perspective the evolution of dominant chords and how to approach them from a practical point of view in the jazz genres. Okay, but let's get started. So in this video, I'm not here to talk to you about what you can play. I think there are a lot of videos out there already talking about this, and you can watch those videos. You can play a lot of things for sure, but one thing I want to talk about in this video is phrasing. This song is a great case study in phrasing. If you think about it, All the Things You Are has the same chord progression as Autumn Leaves, yet for my case, and especially when I first started, I found this song, All the Things You Are, to be a little bit more difficult than Autumn Leaves, and I realized why. It's because of the way the chord progression is structured. So I do also have a course on sound slice on phrasing, jazz phrasing. Please check it out. It's relevant. But you can find the link in the description area. So let's pretend you have the chart in front of you, or maybe you do have it in front of you, but I have it memorized. So it goes F minor to B flat minor. Then it goes E flat 7 to A flat. So in terms of Roman numerals, if you're familiar with that, it's 6 2 5 1. But if you listen to the melody, the phrasing is 6 chord to the 2 chord. goes like this. Sorry. Then goes 5 chord to the 1. So it's 2 phrases, 2 separate phrases. Then the other one's a response to the previous phrase. And then you have a long phrase of 4 bars. 4 bars. So 2, 2, 4. And in my solo, I purposely try to emulate that to show you how you can learn about phrasing from melodies. So that's the main lesson I want to give here, is when you study songs, standards or whatever, learn the melodies and study the phrasing. See how the composer intended the phrasing to be, and then try to use them in your improvisation. However, just because the composer intended the phrasing to be X or Y doesn't mean that you have to do that all the time, but it's just a good thing to study. And the more songs you study this way, the more you'll absorb the different ways of phrasing a melody, and then you can hopefully, when you listen to music and you listen to your favorite players, you can start to think, how is this player phrasing? Okay, this player is connecting these 2 chords, these 3 chords, these 4 chords, and there's so many patterns available to you. Let's go back. I referred to Autumn Leaves earlier. Check out the phrasing, the chord progression first of all. It's notice that the 2, 5, 1 and all the things you are is displaced by 1 bar. So the 1 chord is on bar 4. So it's kind of displaced. Whereas in Autumn Leaves, it's in bar 3. It's kind of symmetrical in blocks of 2. 2 bars, 2 bars, 2 bars, 2 bars. That already makes things a little bit easier in terms of phrasing. But the composer of Autumn Leaves displaced, despite having this kind of like 2, 2, 2, 2, like 2, 5, 1, then 2, 5, 1 to minor, the composer displaced the phrasing. It starts before. The phrasing is displaced. And so, let me recap. In all the things you are, the harmony, the 2, 5, 1, is displaced, but the melody is square. Meaning bar 1 and 2, bar 3 and 4, bars 5, 6, 7. In Autumn Leaves, the harmony is square. 2, 5, 1, 4 bars. Then 2, 5, 1, 4 bars in G minor. The melody though is displaced. 1, 1, 1. So it's very, very interesting. So basically, going back to all the things you are, you can play with a lot of phrasing possibilities. This is, again, if you're a beginner, maybe don't worry too much about this, but it's good to be aware of it, to have it somewhere in the back of your mind, so that when you listen to your music, you're going to activate a part of your brain that's going to try to pay attention to these things, and eventually, hopefully, have all the phrasing in your subconscious. But here's different possible scenarios in your improvisation. You can connect your phrasings this way. You can do something like this, and that's what I did myself. And then something like that. I did something like that, right? Or you can do the Autumn Leaves treatment. You can start somewhere before the F minor occurs. You can do some kind of C7 arpeggio. And if you check out Grant Green's recording of All the Things You Are, he starts his solo like that. He does some kind of, he does some kind of C7 idea. And then connects to F minor. So you can do that C7 to F minor. And end your phrase somewhere there. And then B flat minor, E flat 7 to A flat. So you displace your phrasing. Or you can make a 4-bar phrasing. You can do some idea where it starts on F minor and it continues, like the phrase continues all the way until A flat. Lots of different possibilities you can explore there. But let's check out what the melody actually does. So That's one set, response, and then kind of a conclusion thing. Kind of like a blues or rhythm changes. Same thing again. And then you have the autumn leaves treatment in terms of phrasing. In the B part, it goes, so G. Sorry, the intonation of my guitar is really bad. End of phrase. Then D7. G. Still on G. That's end of a phrase. And then while still on the G, a new phrase begins. Sorry. Then B7. That's the displaced phrasing I was talking about. So that's very interesting. And then after C7, then same thing. Pairs, goes back to square phrasing. And then what's it called? In pairs. So the last part, it goes 2 bars, another 2 bars, and then 2 bars, another 2 bars, and then 4 bars, 3 bars I guess. Now I have this book on Amazon, Visualization for the Improvising Jazz Guitarist, and it talks about seeing everything as one, melody and harmony. So that's why it's a very good skill to be able to come up with these chord melodies on the spot, so that you can see how everything is relating to the harmony. Then you can also study the phrasing. So another great song to study, every song is good to study that way, the phrasing. Check out All of Me. Okay, that's one phrase on the C chord. And then there's displaced phrasing. It connects C to E7. So, one phrase. Then the second bar connects to the third bar. And then we pause a little bit. Then the next phrasing starts on the A7 chord. It copies the same phrasing from the first 4 bars. One little phrase on the chord, but while still on the chord. And then same thing. So that's a good melody to study as well. See how the phrasing works, so that you can focus on the voice leading in that way. Because you have to learn, when you see that, okay, these 2 chords are connected, how do you voice lead from this chord to that chord? For example, out of nowhere, another example I often use in my teaching. Connecting G to this E flat chord, etc., etc. So basically, that's what I wanted to talk about in All the Things You Are. Bring your attention to this. Another song that has this kind of displaced, not displaced phrasing, but displaced chord progression, so to speak, is Fly Me to the Moon. If I do it in the key of C. So what does it do? It's in pairs. It's very square. The melody is square. The melody is square, but the harmony is displaced. So it's very, very interesting in that way. So that's some food for thought. So I just want to repeat myself though. Just because the composer phrased things one way for the melody doesn't mean that you have to do it this way in your improvisation. Certainly not. But you can take inspiration from it. That's what I want you to get out of this video. So I hope this was useful. Please like, please subscribe, please comment, please support me. Thank you so much.